Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Athletes Roundtable. This podcast is brought to you by Athletes Productions. I'm Jordan.
I'm Will Quincy.
And today we have on
Andrew Miller.
So can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself, grade, hometown, major?
Yeah, so I'm a senior captain on the men's water polo team. I'm a bio major, and I'm from Richmond, Texas.
And you play water polo, right?
Yes, sir.
So what position do you play on the water polo team?
I'm a utility. That kind of just means I play everywhere. I don't have like a set position, but I do play like specifically on the 1-2 side mainly for our team.
And how did you get into playing water polo?
Both my older brothers played. I've been a water athlete since I was like 1. I started swimming. I've been swimming my whole life. And I remember I was like 12 or something, and I was a big kid. And I went to one of my brother's water polo games, and his coach, Scott Slay, saw me and was like, that kid's playing water polo. So like the next semester, me and all my friends started playing, and it's been fun since then.
Did you play any other sports at the time? Like, were you involved in anything else in high school?
Yeah.
Athletics?
I've always swam. I played water polo, and obviously, I mean, I'm from Texas, so like ever since you're born, and if you're a dude, you just like get fed into playing football. So football was a big part of my life too. I started playing flag football when I was like 8 at the YMCA, then like Pee Wee, and then went to high school and played.
How would you describe the difference between playing like high school football in Texas compared to like other places in the States?
It's like crazy because like I remember vividly when we had football games, we have like NFL-sized stadiums packed with students and people from the community. Everyone goes to football games, especially high school football games where I'm from. And it's like the athletes, I mean, obviously I used to be one of them, but I don't know what they feed these kids. Because like, I remember my freshman year, we had this kid named Shadozi Nwankwa who was 275 and could bench 375.
275 in high school?
As a 14-year-old.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, these kids are insane. Like, literally everyone in Texas, if you have some size and you're kind of athletic, you are force-fed into football.
This is automatic.
It definitely seems like you have the build, and you're definitely athletic with being the captain as a senior on the water polo team. So what'd you do on the football field? Anything accomplishments?
I was a pretty good tight end for my football team. We made it, I remember my freshman year, we made it to the semifinals in 5A states, which is like, obviously 6A is the highest and 5A is the second rank, but like even making it that far is like insanely hard for a football team. So I would say we're pretty good.
So Iona right now doesn't have a football team, but if they brought it back, would you consider playing on the football team?
Yeah, I would definitely consider playing. I mean, it would be a little interesting with being in the same season as water polo.
Would you give up water polo to play football again?
Probably not. I mean, I am confident I'd be good enough to where I could just be like, I'll show up to practices when I can, and I'll show up to games. Because they would probably start out recruiting a bunch of kids that just want to play football and are like from New York and like the area around here, and going from Texas high school football to like playing with kids that are not from like the South playing football would be like a cakewalk.
Mm-hmm. So is there any differences between water polo in high school compared to water polo at the college level?
Yeah, there are some pretty similar things where it's like in California, all the water polo is really, really good. But like being from Texas, it's really different because like the biggest thing for us is like everyone that's large or athletic plays football, plain and simple. Like I never knew anyone that ever went to another game other than a football game. So it's like all of our really big athletic kids are playing football, so everyone else is kind of like smaller and a little less athletic. So it's like when I'm playing against these kids, tallest guy I'm going against is like 5'9", and I'm 6'1", 240 at the time. So it was like playing with a little kid. So it was like pretty easy to move people around. Yeah, exactly. I was much larger than everyone else I played against.
And then, I mean, how does that translate to the college level? I mean, you've been here all 4 years of your college career, and you've toughed it out and eventually became the captain. Like, what has that experience been like transitioning from high school to college?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing every coach will tell you is, like, you can't walk in expecting to be the best player because, like, everyone, if you're not from California, it's like everyone that gets recruited was the best player on their high school team, confidently one of the best players in their state. So it's like you're walking in and everyone else is really good. But it's honestly, the transition wasn't huge. There's a lot of water polo, like outside of California, there's some hot spots. Like Florida has good polo players, Texas has some good polo players, and then like Greenwich has some good water polo players. But outside of that, it's a little bit lower of a tier of water polo. And I walked into a lot of guys that hadn't played at like that high level, so I felt like I had more water polo knowledge than a good number of the guys. My freshman year, completely different group now. A lot of the guys now, like, or everyone on the teams like can play and is smart, but like walking in, I felt like it was like because I was on the national team my junior year of high school, so it's like I was used to like such high level water polo, and I felt like I kind of took a step down just my freshman year, but it's really built its way up my 4 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that might have something to do with the international recruiting that Iona's been heavily doing in all sports for the past few years?
Yeah, no, we definitely want more guys that are from Europe because water polo in America is all right. Like, obviously our women's team's amazing. They've won like every Olympics for like the past 2 decades. But our men's team is kind of young and isn't really at that level. But like those Slavic countries like Croatia, Serbia, Montenegro, Hungary, they're all insane at water polo. So the more kids that we can get to come here from those countries with that kind of experience, our team's going to just keep improving.
What has the transition process been like for you, like going from Texas to New York?
The weather's a really big shock. We like to say we're from the tropics. I'm from like the Houston area, so it's 100% humidity all the time, rains all the time, hurricanes very often. And then I come to here where it rains a little bit, but it's really cold. Like I didn't have something heavier than a sweatshirt before I came here. So definitely a big weather shock. Culturally, I mean, my area of Texas was kind of like progressive, so it wasn't like that big of a shock when I came here. So
how do you guys, like on the water polo team, as we were just talking about like international players, how do you guys help each other like get comfortable in like New Rochelle, like living in New York, and like to perform better?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the guys, it's like, especially with the upperclassmen, it's like they've been in your shoes before. So it's like they understand you're moving from somewhere you've never been. I mean, moving to somewhere you've never been before. Like half of our guys, honestly, never took a recruiting trip. It's like those Europeans. It's like not like the same degree as like us. Like I don't think we have a single athlete from New York, New Jersey, anywhere near here. So it's kind of like everyone's in the same boat. Everyone's hopping on a plane, flying to New York, and we're all jumping into the same little group. So I feel like everyone kind of is coming from the same place, same like concept. So I feel like it's really easy for us to like understand where they're coming from.
Did you tour?
I did not. No. I took like 5 official visits. I was going to take an official here my senior year, but COVID happened. So I never officially did step on campus until I moved in.
What was it like then, stepping on campus for the first time, being like, this is my home for the next 4 years?
I was very excited when I found out how suburban it is. I'm from a suburban area. So when I hear New York before I come here, I think of Manhattan. So I'm like, I'm not like Brooklyn, like that's not my vibe. So I was kind of scared walking in, thinking I was going to live in Brooklyn, kind of. But it was all right. I mean, I was really happy with the area that New Rochelle's in, because like we're like 15 minutes from mountains. We're like not too far from the city. The pool was a big shock. In Texas, swimming's huge. So every single high school has like a minimum 12-lane all deep natatorium. Like we have huge pools where we're from. So coming here to a 6-lane shallow deep pool with pull-out stands was kind of a culture shock for me. But it's an advantage because no one knows how to play in a shallow end. I frankly still don't know how to play in a shallow end, and I've been doing it for 4 years. So how are these kids from Harvard and Princeton coming from Cali with the same environment, never playing in a shallow deep pool, coming in? How are they supposed to be expected to like adjust that quickly? So it's a big advantage.
What is your daily schedule in water polo?
So we are not allowed to practice for more than 20 hours a week. So like in season, we have like 9 to 12 practice weights at 7 a.m. twice a week. And then I'm a senior, so I only have like 3 legit classes, and then like an internship class and an honors class where I just work on my thesis. So I'll have like 1 to 2 classes a day on top of my practices. So it's not like that hard. I'd definitely say like my freshman and sophomore year when I was taking like 3 upper level sciences at the same time while having practice was a little harder. But it's not easy. So
yeah, you mentioned bio major, right? I mean, balancing being a D1 athlete and the study and the hours in the lab that you have to spend as a bio major. How do you manage all that? What does time management mean to you?
Yeah, when I was growing up, my parents really made an effort to make me really involved. So I was always just like busy. So I've always just kind of been used to like managing my time well, but realistically you just gotta sit down. Like you can't just blow off class. You have to go to class, you have to listen while you're in class, you have to take good notes. And then a lot of the time, like my A&P professor gave me some great advice, Lawrence Maricone. He's like, if you are free from 8 to 10 every Tuesday night, just make that your study time. Like make it a routine. Because if you make it a routine, it makes it easier to like keep it up. So like every Tuesday night, I try to study for that specific class for 2 hours every single week. And it just makes it easier. Keeping a routine, it's hard to break. So,
what do you say with like being a bio major, having to deal with like classes and water polo and being the captain? Is there like too much pressure being like in your position or not?
I would say there's some pressure, but I don't think it's anything that I can't handle. Cause I like to always put myself in uncomfortable situations so that it makes those kind of things easier. There are times where it gets really hard, but I just have to like sit down, breathe for a second, and realize that this is just a small smidge of everything. Because like, yeah, I love water polo, I love all this stuff, but at the end of the day, I'm doing this for 4 years. So there's a lot of things I got to look forward to, and if I'm sitting here freaking out about something as small as a water polo game, I need to do some real growth as a person. So
definitely. What's like your favorite aspect of like a game or like leading up to the game? Like what's your favorite part?
I have 2 different things, because with our home games, I love the crowd because we have a small pool, small stands, and it's like kind of a compact area. It feels like a box.
Yeah.
So when we get the stands packed, and especially the swim team and the volleyball team, they're so loud. So I really, really enjoy that aspect. But I mean, honestly, I just enjoy playing. So whenever we have a game, I'm just like, before the game, I'm just sitting there thinking like I'm about to mess up some kids. So I enjoy that aspect.
Do you have any pregame like rituals before?
I don't have huge rituals. I do listen to country music before every game. I don't like listening to rap or anything because I don't want to get too like anxious and like riled up, because like I've always been a huge believer in like I do this every single day. Like this is nothing special. It's just another game.
You don't want to overthink
for me.
it?
I don't want to overthink it. Like I'm just gonna be like put it into a normal routine. Just play water polo, like plain and simple. Like I know on any given day I could beat the kids I'm playing against. So why do I have to get riled up and like overthink it? essentially.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just do your job.
Literally just do my job.
Yeah.
Yep.
What are some of your favorite country artists?
Pre-game, I listen to the El Paso Co-Wetzel album and Morgan Wallen. I listen to a lot of Toby Keith. But yeah, those are three big ones that I listen to a lot.
The only person that you named that I recognize is Morgan Wallen.
Really?
I'm not a big country like fan like that, but Morgan Wallen's really, really good.
Yeah. I also like Hardy. Hardy is wrote half of Morgan Wallen's songs.
Really? Huh.
And yeah, he's a really good artist. Obviously, Morgan Wallen's great, but I think Hardy's a great guy too.
Yeah.
He just released one song that I've been listening to nonstop.
What about what do you not look for? Like thinking of a game day, what's this is gonna happen. I just have to do it. Like, what's your least favorite part?
Setting up the pool and breaking down the pool. It's really annoying because the way our pool's set up, we have a lane reel that fits 3 lane lines, and the rest of the lane lines we have to shove into a supply closet. So that is very tedious and very annoying.
Bet
and
it gets tangled quite often.
Oh yeah, and then pulling out the bleachers. It's just tedious. I never enjoy doing that.
I tried to interview your coach one time last year, and I was during the interview, just all you guys were just cleaning up the pool, and I was like, this is just so weird to see. After the game, you guys have to clear it up, but it makes sense.
Yeah, we got to leave it in the base lane lines in everything for obviously the swim team and open swim. So,
what are some of your hobbies? You just mentioned country music, but do you have any other?
I mean, I listen to a lot of music. I like to just hang out with people in my life because, outside of, while I'm in season and in semester, I spend a lot of time studying and a lot of time practicing, a lot of time watching film. So when I'm not doing any of that, I like to just, hang out with my roommates, teammates, friends, and then hang out with family, so.
Did you go through any hardships while you're here at Iona in your last 4 years?
COVID was rough, not gonna lie. I quarantined for 62 days total in my first year in college. My first time away from the house. I'm hating everything because I can't practice. The whole reason I came here was to play water polo. I can't practice. Our season got canceled 3 times. And then it was so hard to go to school while just being on a camera in my room, sitting there getting fat, eating food. So that was really rough. And I really blamed all of COVID on Iona my freshman year. So I was really considering transferring, especially my freshman year, just because of the whole hubbub with COVID. I blamed it on Iona. But now that we're through that, it's a lot better because I don't have to sit in a quarantine room at every other week.
Everyone's better off without that.
Yeah.
What do you think made you stay?
Realistically, it was my teammates. The other now seniors are great guys. And at the time there were 6 of us, and the guys above us weren't the most promising athletes, but I saw the 6 guys could really take us to that next level. And then we were recruiting this kid named Luke Shavlasic, and I knew he was really good. So I was like, if he's going to come here, I can play with that kid for 3-4 years and be happy. So.
Do you think from when you came here as a freshman to where you're leaving the program now, do you think you have altered the culture in a way positive that you could look back at it and be like, I really impacted this program in a positive way? Yeah,
I wouldn't say it was just me, but I think I did a lot. I've definitely, the biggest issue with most of the, not issue, but the biggest downside to most of the guys we get really athletic guys. Jack Folan, one of my roommates, great guy, one of my best friends. When he came into college, he hadn't had much high-level experience. So even him just sitting there and playing with us for 4 years, he has transformed as an athlete. So I like to think that I try to help my teammates as much as possible, and I feel me just being in the water gives people experience. I'm trying to relay what I've learned onto the other guys. And I feel like that's one big thing that I do. I also try to be, obviously I've had some issues with it, but I try to stay calm and collected. That's been a big goal of mine, and I think I've done a decent job this year. And I've done a lot of things, like we have a playbook this year because I made it. I spent like 3 hours last year like taking all of our plays, putting it into a PowerPoint, and then pasting that onto a Word document. It's like 40 pages long, and I don't think I've done everything by myself, obviously, but I think I did impact the program a bit.
Yeah, talking about staying calm and cool and collected, I saw a video the other day of some interaction with some fans or something. What happened? I don't know any context about that, but what happened with that?
Yeah, we had a little kerfuffle during our game against LIU. We some of our guys didn't keep their composure, and there was a little scuffle. No one threw any punches or anything, so we're all good. But yeah, it was one of those moments where it's like the benches could clear, so it's like no one's throwing punches. But I will give mad props to Roscoe Yevgevich and Will Harrington, because they both did a great job de-escalating the incident. Roscoe grabbed the guy on the other team that was the other part of the incident and just like picked him up, walked him away. It was like, it's okay, it's okay.
Roscoe's a great kid. I love that kid.
Yeah, Roscoe's amazing.
Throwing it back in the interview, when you were talking about COVID a little bit, did you watch a lot of Netflix?
I do watch a lot of Netflix, yes.
And
very much so.
Do you want to rank the top 15 or top 10? This week, we will have the random rankings back, and our guest will rank his top 10 Netflix original movies/TV shows. We will have the top 10 of his Netflix original rankings. Let's get into it.
All right, perfect. So I'll start at 10.
Yep.
I'm putting Red Notice. It's a good movie. I just have more personal connections with the rest of these options.
I think it's a safe pick, honestly.
Yeah.
I think you could put it on at any time, and it could be some good background noise. But I understand.
Yeah,
I understand the placement with some of the other things that are in this lineup.
I saw it once, and I agree that it's not as good as the other ones in this lineup.
Yeah, some of these are just like my personal favorites. Next, I'm gonna put Murder Mystery. It's a great movie. Great movie.
That would be my top 5.
Yeah,
for
this
sure.
one would be up there, but I have like personal connections with the ones above it. I'll put it sideways so I'm not covering the tape. Next, I'd probably put You. I really enjoyed the first season, but I wasn't a huge fan of the following seasons, personally.
I think it seems that Netflix, I mean, maybe not for Stranger Things, but for definitely other shows, there seems to be an decline in the, I mean, just content and overall, like, wellness of the show after the first season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's goofy. Next, I'll put Bird Box. A great movie. I just prefer TV shows, honestly. Like you'll notice at my top like 6, except for this one, are like, I mean, my top 6 are all TV shows. I prefer watching TV shows. I just thought Bird Box, personally, I enjoyed more than these other 2 movies. And You was carried by 1 season, so I thought Bird Box had to be over that.
I remember when Bird Box came out, it was like,
So much
for
like
me,
right?
it was like, it felt like one of the biggest like internet
It was
like
huge.
movie type sensations. I felt like if you weren't watching it, like you were missing out on something culturally.
Yeah.
But I definitely think it was a little bit overrated.
Yeah.
I think Bird Box was overrated. I think You was good for like 1 season. Murder Mystery I would have over Bird Box, just my opinion. But Bird Box was a good movie.
I think so far it's a pretty valid list. Going
Fair
on.
enough.
I do like the list so far.
This one, it's Inside Job. Not a lot of people know about it.
I never knew about that one until you told me about it.
I didn't know about it until I watched it. And honestly, it's just like, it's like a Rick and Morty type of show. It's just like fun to throw on. You can like, if you actually watch it, you can get invested, but you can also just like sit there and have it on the background. It's fun to watch. But it's like a personal favorite of mine, but definitely not better than any of the ones above it. So next, I'll probably put Death Note. It's there's a movie hooked with it, but like the show is really good. I enjoyed it. Like you can just sit there and enjoy the cinema as well as the storytelling, and it's just really good.
I've heard great things about it. I haven't seen it personally.
Death Note's an anime, right?
Yeah,
it
is.
I heard that it's like one of the greatest animes of all time, but I just haven't watched it.
Definite. I would say it's up there, probably like a top 10 for me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Next, also not a lot of people know about this, but it's BoJack Horseman.
The name sounds like it could be a funny show.
Yeah, it's super funny. It's like the reason I like it so much is it's like full of dark humor, and it's just like you can watch it all day. It's another one of those like close to Rick and Morty's, but it's like low-key a depressing show.
Yeah, isn't that that like TikTok sound where it's like someone doing something random, then it cuts to the horse and it's like Rehab was supposed to. I felt like that was from that show.
Yeah, it's like I can just sit down and watch it, and I enjoy it a lot. So, but yeah, it does have some depressing moments. Next, this is one of my personal favorites. It's The Witcher. It just has like a crap load of action. Like every episode is full of action. The storyline behind it isn't my favorite, but I really enjoy watching dudes kill big monsters. So that's a big favorite of mine.
I'm so happy you put Demon Slayer and Stranger Things in your top 2. That would have been my top 2 too.
Yeah, for me, honestly,
Stranger Things
my
number
final
1.
2 are Stranger Things and Demon Slayer. I don't really know which one I would put first. I personally think I enjoyed Stranger Things more, just because when Stranger Things seasons come out, I don't do anything but watch Stranger Things. And I'm currently trying to finish the last season of Demon Slayer, and it's like, I feel like if it were Stranger Things, I would sit down and just watch it.
You'd already be done with it.
I'd already be done with it. Exactly. So I would probably put Stranger Things at 1, and then Demon Slayer at 2.
I think out of all the random rankings we've done, I agree with this list like the most, because Stranger Things with the nostalgia and the like, and then Demon Slayer just has great animations to it.
The animation's insane. And it's like, you can always, like, honestly, I feel like Demon Slayer is so similar to, like, Naruto, where it's like you have a little, like, kind of weak main character that kind of just finds a way to get stronger and stronger when he needs to.
Yeah.
And I'm always about that, so.
Yeah, I think it's a great tier list, I think.
And definitely these bottom 4, they're, like, honestly all interchangeable for me.
But they would stay at bottom 4, but interchangeable?
Yeah, like, I would put... These 2 definitely wouldn't be up here for most people, but that's just like personal.
Yeah, your
like
favorites.
I have connections to those shows, so.
Yeah. One that was in like the 15, like 10 to 15 was Outer Banks.
Yeah.
I think that is, in my opinion, pretty overrated. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, I watched the first season of Outer Banks and just wasn't the biggest fan. Like, I would much rather sit down and watch any of these than Outer Banks. So that's why I didn't really put it in my top 10. I know, like, my roommates loved that show. I remember, I think it was like my sophomore year, they would come home from class or practice at the same time every single day and watch Outer Banks together. And I was like, you guys are crazy. Like, you could be watching so many better things.
I remember, I thought it was like the stupidest show, so I didn't watch it for like the first year, and then the summer came around and the hype about season 2 came out, so I was like, oh, I'll watch it. I ended up watching season 1 in one day, the day before season 2 came out, and then was like, oh, I'll watch it with my friend, and we were like, all right, we're on the last episode again, and the next day after I just watched season 1, we're on the last episode of season 2. Like, we can't watch it right now, we have to wait. And later that night, he like shows me a picture, and I was like, oh, that's funny, it's like the flag that he's like talking about in the episode. And he was like, what episode? And I was like, oh, like I didn't watch it. He was like, no, I watched it too. Like, we couldn't stop ourselves from watching it. But season 3 I didn't watch at all, and I don't know.
Fair enough. I feel like my roommates just watched it because they thought Sarah Cameron was hot. So
that's
fair.
I didn't jump on the hype.
Are there any like Netflix originals that like are left out that you would put up there?
Putting
you on the
top
spot.
of my head,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I feel like on streaming platforms today, like, there's so much stuff moves around. I know Netflix original is only on Netflix, but
I feel like Big Mouth was a big one though.
Big Mouth, yep.
I just can't think of like what's a Netflix original.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like I
had to like go on Netflix.
I would say Naruto,
like,
but that's not.
Yeah.
Like The Office was on Netflix, but it's not a Netflix original.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock.
I think at the start of all these streaming platforms, it was easy to be like, that's an original. But now with like all the money
Hulu
they have and the I think Don't Look Up, like, I wouldn't think of that as a Netflix original.
I want to watch that movie.
That's a Netflix original.
Yeah.
Like, and
Don't
that
Look
has
Up
an
is so
insane
funny.
cast.
I was actually with my roommates last night, and we were like cooking dinner and stuff, and like we try to like watch a movie or something while we're eating dinner, and I was like, can we please watch this? We watched White Chicks instead, but I was like, can we please watch this? But I voted. I wanted to watch it.
Don't Look Up is a funny movie. I watched it like with my family like over Christmas break, I think last year, and it was a funny movie.
Nah, I'm definitely gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I just gotta convince my roommates.
Also, Wednesday, I don't know. I tried to watch it. I thought it was decent. I just thought that one dance like blew it up, kind of.
Yeah, honestly, I also tried to watch it. I got like 3 or 4 episodes in, and I was like, I'd much rather be watching something else.
Yeah.
So I just stopped watching it.
All right. Well, let us know what you think about the rankings here in the comments, and we'll get back to the podcast and finish it up. Welcome back to the show. We will finish it up with a couple of last questions. So, what are or who are your inspirations in water polo and in life?
I would definitely say my biggest inspiration would be my dad. My dad played college football, joined the Navy. My dad is just like such a selfless person. I feel like he's always put everyone's needs above him, like no matter what the situation is. So I would definitely say my dad's my biggest inspiration. And then you always love like a little hometown hero. So it was like, I went to high school with C.D. Lamb and I played with C.D. Lamb in high school. So the fact that you can see someone coming from your hometown, like just putting in the work every single day, because he was always like putting in way more work than everyone else. So the fact that you can see someone coming from like your hometown go and able to compete at the highest level in college, and then that also like being all pro in the NFL is kind of crazy. So I would definitely say my dad inspires me more than C.D. Lamb, but it's a great story.
I would take inspiration from C.D. Lamb too.
It's like seeing someone like very similar to you like achieve all that. It's like wants to make you achieve all that too.
Yeah, because he's like, I mean, obviously I weigh a little bit more than him, but he's like the same size as me. So it's not like he's crazy athletic. He just like puts in a lot of work.
What's next for you? What's coming up? Tell the people what's going on.
I'm looking at grad school. Looking at a couple different places like Columbia, NYIT, a couple places in Texas, Quinnipiac. But I want to become a physical therapist, so I have to get my doctorate for that. So once I graduate, I just gotta. I mean, obviously I'm about to start applying to places, but I'm going to PT school. So.
You think you'll play for a graduate year at a school?
It's definitely an option. There's a couple of schools around the country that have DPTs on top of water polo. Like there's Chapman in Cali. They have like a top 10 DPT program in the nation. So it might be a little hard to get in, but water polo could help me with that. But there's also like LIU has a DPT, and then like Concordia, a couple other schools. So I'm definitely looking at playing in college, because why not have my grad school paid for? That'd be really nice.
Ideal.
I just got to find out if, like, because DPT program has a really hard schedule, I just have to find out if I can play water polo on top of that schedule. So.
Well, I wish you the best in your future, and thank you for joining the show. Thank you to our listeners for watching another episode. We will be back next week with a brand new show. This is
Will Quincy.
Jordan signing off.